Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to RAMP Promotions, the Real Deal podcast show. This is what we call PIP Mondaze. Welcome back, and we have a loaded show for you tonight. We're gonna start by going into the Kayla Martin appeal. I've been told that she has not received anything in her bank account yet, and we are about literally 8 days away. No, 6 days away from the deadline. So we're gonna make a special appeal there. We're gonna touch on the Alpart pensions problem. This is the phase 2 preparation stage because on Saturday, we're gonna have a whole host of people coming on Mr. Radigan's show and also on Naram Promotions, the Real Deal podcast show. Also, we're going to be touching on U.S. immigration tonight and also Nurse K's Health Fair and other events like the Chicken Back and Seafood Festival and a night at the Roxbury. So welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. So therefore, Kayla, and we're going to bring up on screen here her achievements. Kayla won the 2024 inaugural Carifta Gymnastics Championship. That was in 2024, the end of 2024, if I remember right. And she also moved on to the Jamaican Classics. She also won there. Now she's been tapped on the shoulder to represent Jamaica, her school, herself, and her community at the classics in the Dominican Republic. It cost about $3,000 to get there. Her grandmother, who's in Comapan district in St. Elizabeth, a person I know, someone I know personally, she pulled together about $1,500, and they're short $1,500. So we're making this appeal for young Kayla. She's 12 years old, a superstar of South Central Jamaica, and we're asking everyone to donate to Kayla. Now, I'm surprised that we have only 6 days left for the deadline. Kayla it needs to pay that money over in order to be at that classic. That's a championship, a gymnastic championship in the Dominican Republic, and community people have been coming in and donating, 1,000 or 500 there, but it's still a far cry away from the balance that is owed. We're asking everyone to donate whatever you can to Kayla's bank account. It's on your screen. This bank account will, once you donate there, she will get it in time to pass it on to the people that need it for her to compete at the classics in the Dominican Republic. Ladies and gentlemen, please, this is not a whole lot here. So I'm kicking off this. I'm donating 15,000 Jamaican dollars. That's about 100 US. So I need, 14 other people to donate 100 US. I'm going to ask everyone who sees this. These are the bank accounts there. Please, we have 6 days left, and I'll be on air and I'll be touching base with her grandmother. I spoke to her this afternoon, and she told me that nothing came into the bank account. Now, here are the bank accounts on your screen, ladies and gentlemen. Please donate to this worthy cause. Young Kayla is 12 years old, and she's a champion already. She dominated the Carifta game, the inaugural gymnastics Carifta Championships in 2024. So, and she also dominated the Jamaican Classics in 2025. And now the Yamilet Pina Classics Gymnastic Tournament in the Dominican Republic is next month, but the deadline for that 3,000 US dollars to be paid is the 20th of July. So therefore, we're asking everyone, here's the bank accounts are in front of you. I've pledged a certain amount, and I'm asking those. I know there's a lot of big businesses down there, a lot of people down there that can help. Wherever you are, if you're in England, Canada, the United States, Jamaica, in the Caribbean, Central America, the bank accounts are there. Please, we're asking you to send young Kayla to the Dominican Republic. All right? So I'll be checking in with her grandmother tomorrow, the next day, every day until the 20th. And we'll be on the air and we'll be appealing to each and every one of you. Do remember, it's only 6 days left. 6 days, ladies and gentlemen. So we have just to the end of this week. All right? So I'm asking everyone, please donate. The bank accounts are in front of you. This is a commercial bank account. There's two of them, one with the name Kanika Honis and the other with Great Start Academy. That's Sharon Bent. Okay, the numbers are right on your screen. Donate. Please donate. She needs it. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. And I hope we can make this, and I know we'll make this happen for her by the end of the week. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. So let's dive in and talk a little bit about the Alpart's pensions problem. This phase 2 that we're on right now, it's a preparation stage. And we have Mr. Witter in the background, and we're going to bring him on stage in a few minutes. However, let's talk about this a little bit. Now, Mr. Witter had sent me a couple of things, and I want to put it up on stage here so that you can see it. All right? So let's look at this for a second. This is talking about deferred pensions. You know, if you look back at our previous podcast, you'll know what we're talking about. This is the Alpart pensions problem. The Alumna Partners of Jamaica, members who worked at Alumna Partners of Jamaica for 10, 15, 20, 30 years and more, they signed a pension agreement, and this pension agreement was irrevocable. This agreement was irrevocable. However, when they came to retirement age, they were told nothing is there. Now, in between signing the agreement and the plant closing down on its own recognizance, that they had problems. They had to shut down. And at the time of shutting down, they told the members, anyone working there at that point in time were vested. So there was no, they skirted around the vesting period of 7.5 years or 10 years and said, okay, because the plant, Alumna Partners of Jamaica, is closing down because of their problems, anyone there, no matter how long you're working there, you're now vested. All right? So let's go back to the agreement. Now, why did Mr. Witter send me this? And I'm reading this. It says, when the word deferred is used in relation to a pension, it still means delayed until later. That's deferred. So what is a deferred pension? A deferred pension means you have earned a pension, but you're not getting the money now. You're waiting until a later time, usually retirement age, to start receiving it. That's right. And a simple example, imagine you worked for a company for a few years and earned the right to a pension. you leave the job, but instead of taking the money now, you defer it. That means you say you wait until you're older, like age 60 or 65, to start getting that monthly payment. Okay, now I understand this part, and I hope you do understand this. So we move on a little bit further, and let's look at, and I'm going to dive into what I have here, a few things. Now, the FSB and Mr. Witter had sent me something, but I went on to the FSB website, so you can go on there. And we said, look, we're looking at the difference between a retirement scheme and a superannuation fund. So let's kind of back that up for a little bit, and see why I'm pulling this right now. So let's go from this page. What is a Jamaican superannuation fund? Okay, let's dive into that. Now, in Jamaica, a superannuation fund is a type of employer sponsored pension plan designed to provide employees with retirement income, known as occupational schemes. These funds operate as trusts where employers set aside assets to provide benefits for its employees who are the beneficiaries. Okay, so they break it down. How does it work? So, the purpose is to provide contributors with a reasonable replacement income upon reaching retirement age. Is that so? And the funding, the superannuation fund, are typically funded by contributions from both the employer and the employee. There are also non-contributory plans where only the employer contributes, although these are less common in Jamaica. What are the structure? It says here, they operate as trust arrangements with trustees responsible for managing the fund's assets for the benefit of the members. Okay. So what are the regulations? Superannuation funds in Jamaica are subject to the legal framework that includes trust law, income tax law, and the pensions, which we call Superannuation Funds and Retirement Schemes Act of 2024. And let's see who oversees this. Goodness gracious me, hold on a second. Now, this is juicy stuff. Let me kind of move this banner out of the way so you can see what's going on here. I'll just scoot the banner out of the way for a second. So these funds are overseen by the Financial Services Commission, FSC. Now you'll connect the dots in a moment. So let's go to ladies and gentlemen, this is getting juicy by the minute. So let's dive here for a second. What are the benefits? They say contributions are often tax deductible. Investment earnings within the fund are usually tax free. Can the benefits they can offer benefits beyond retirement, including termination, death, and disability benefits, depending on the plan rules. Retirement benefits can be paid as an annuity with the option of a tax-free lump sum and a reduced pension. Pension benefits accumulated in approved superannuation funds are generally protected from the creditors. Wow. Types of superannuation funds Superannuation funds can be either defined can either be defined benefit or defined contribution plans. Defined benefit plans, for example, the retirement benefit is predetermined by a formula often based on factors like salary and years of service. The defined contribution plan explained here can be contributions that are invested, and the retirement benefit depends on the accumulated contributions and investment returns. Now, let me stop there for a second. I'm going to stop there for a second. And I'm going to bring Mr. Witter on stage right now. And I'm going to show you something that he sent me that we're going to go over this on Saturday, but I want Mr. Witter on here. So hold on a second, guys. Let me get him on the stage. So, Mr. Witter, welcome to Naram Promotions, the Real Deal podcast show. Welcome back, Mr. Witter.
Blessing, man, blessing.
All right, welcome. So, we've been diving into this stuff that this problem that has been going on. And I was just going over certain types of retirement funds. And some people may say that, this is a joke or a farce, but nobody understands the magnitude of the problem because they were not in your shoes over the last few years that you've been tackling this and fighting this problem. Everyone is depending on you to come through with it because a lot of people are not just only old, they're ill and they cannot fight for themselves. So this has been going on for many, many years. But you sent me something. When I look at what I saw you with a deferred plan, so I explained it, and we're gonna go dive deep into that on Saturday. And we talked about the superannuation fund that you sent me the information on. So that in itself explains what these retirement funds are and what the obligations are of the employer, the government, the FSB, and we can dive deep into even the stock exchange. So because all of them are combined together. So now you sent me, and let me just pull this up. I'm just going to take some things off my my screen here, and then I'm going to dive into it just in just a second. So let me get you sent me your contribution statement. Now, these the contribution statement you sent me, two of them. One had let's pull this up here. I'm gonna get it on the stage. Let's open that. Are you with me, Mr. Witter?
Yes, I'm there.
Okay, that's one of them. And I'm gonna pull that up for us. Hold on a second. Let me dive into the next one. Now this one has a big fat zero somewhere along the line there.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
So let's talk about this for a second.
So it would be better if you could find the 2006 one. They will take it from there. Could you find that one first?
I'll pull that up
Yes.
in a second. However, what we're trying to show you here is we're going to compare two statements that Mr. Witter had received, and I'm looking for the other one. Okay, here we go. And I hopefully this one is it. Yeah. There you go.
Yes.
All right, talk about it for a second.
Okay. So this is my 2006 pension statement. And At the left corner at top, you see shade in green. That is years of service. It's about 17 years of service up there.
Right. Hmm.
Right. And you remember that E5 is saying once you complete 10 years or more, you're entitled to a deferred vested pension at your normal retirement date. Okay. So we stroll down quickly and take a look at termination benefit that also shade in green across. So we look at option A. Option A is saying that a vested member can take back a refund of their basic and voluntary contribution plus a deferred pension. At,
Stop there now, Mr. Witter. Now that's extremely important, and we're going to go into this on Saturday. Now, when it states here, there's ABC, options,
yes,
and each option has to it a component that says plus a deferred pension.
yes,
So it did not say you will not receive, you get a lump sum and no deferred pension. It did not say you have a choice to choose between receiving a deferred pension or not. It says you get a certain amount back plus a deferred pension in all those categories. Continue, Mr. Witter.
yes. So therefore, if your service should terminate 2006, this would be what you well, as you say, you have A, B, C. So let's, for instance, me choose A. So I would go home with the basic and voluntary, but you know that you cannot get the deferred until you're 65. So and you see the money is there. That deferred pension carry a sum of money, as you can see. Yes, it is there. So
Okay.
everything all right there. 06. Everything all right, 06. So let us go to 07.
Okay, so let's switch over to the next one here. So let's go to 07.
Yes. So in the same manner, at the left hand corner at top, you see your era service. And then you scroll down to termination benefits. So this is a 2007 pension statement. However, it carries some wordings again. Option A, B, and C. So option A, you can take back your basic and your voluntary, and it show the amount of money plus a deferred pension, a big fat zero. So no more deferred pension as of 2007. So you're gone.
What?
It disappeared.
Just
So
magically disappeared.
yes. So
Okay.
everything all right up to 2006. When I gone about 16 years in the pension program. 16 years.
Right.
You can't put rule in a Migla game.
So I'm gonna show something here because this is getting real juicy. Because these are in black and white. We got a lot more, but hold on a
Yes.
second. We're gonna dive deep on Saturday. So we got some attorneys coming on Saturday that's gonna dive deep into it and provide some answers because this is public knowledge. All right. So you don't know what else is behind the scene, which we're gonna be discussing behind the scene because this is going all the way. So hold on a second, ladies and gentlemen. So let's go back into where were we? Part three? Well, okay. Okay, the difference between retirement schemes and superannuation. So let's go to I think it was part four. And it says one of the most striking difference between, oh, let me go back here just a second. I just want to make sure I'm covering this properly. The difference between a retirement scheme and a superannuation fund. it says both retirement schemes and superannuation funds are pension arrangements designed to encourage Jamaicans to save towards their retirement days. And this is from the Financial Services Commission. Okay. You can go on the website, you'll see it there in black and white. Both arrangements are crafted to provide a slew of front and back end tax incentives for Jamaicans who use them to save money. Both arrangements have many similarities, but this article discusses some ways in which retirement schemes differ from the presently more common superannuation fund. So let's move to the other section. Okay, here we are. One of the most striking difference between retirement schemes and superannuation funds involve the range of people eligible for the benefit. Members of the superannuation fund is limited to those employed by employers that are workers. They take on various legal and administrative costs associated with such funds. Let me kind of move this out of the way so we can see clearly. Hold on, ladies and gentlemen. Let me get to it. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. And let's move that. Yeah. So it says here that membership in superannuation funds is limited to those employed by employers that are willing to take on the various legal and administrative costs associated with such funds. So the employers have to take on the various legal and administrative costs associated with such funds. Unfortunately, most companies have chosen not to take on these costs, which have limited the number of Jamaicans being able to benefit from superannuation funds. As a consequence, one dilemma faced by policymakers was how to make Jamaicans who are not members of a superannuation fund have access to similar benefits. So the Financial Services Commission has a critical consumer protection role, since by law it exists for the purpose of protecting the users of financial services. Now let me read that again, ladies and gentlemen. The Financial Services Commission has a critical consumer protection role, since by law it exists for the purpose of protecting the users of financial services. We at the FSC, it states, have observed certain economic trends, consumer behavioral patterns, as well as the threat posed by unregulated financial organizations. Now, remember, I was talking about seismic shifts. Listen carefully. So, therefore, all of which serve to convince us that there's a critical need for Jamaica to urgently establish a coordinated and comprehensive mechanism to impart knowledge and financial education. In other words, there is need for a Jamaican National Financial Literacy Program, and this was back a few years ago when they posted this. Now, it says here, empowering Jamaicans with the requisite skill through a comprehensive program of financial education will not be easy, but it can provide individuals with the financial knowledge necessary to create household budgets, initiate savings plans, manage debt, and make strategic investment decisions for their retirement or their children's education. Now, this is huge, guys. The Financial Services Commission continues to state is closely monitoring its licensees amid at that time the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, during that time, things were volatile in the financial markets. So these monies that they have under their control have to be invested in order to be turned over for it to make a profit. So you can keep it buoyant for all the members. All right. So um, during that time, the possible impact, the actions and responses to this situation will have on the securities, insurance, and private pension sectors because COVID-19 was a volatile time. So they had to oversee these monies. Now, remember, bear in mind, we're talking just under $40 billion with Sagicor. The FSC had has the responsibility to oversee what Sagicor is doing with that money, what the financial sector is what is happening in that sector to protect the Jamaican public. So, in light of this, the FSC has engaged with its shareholders or stakeholders, sorry, including representatives from the Jamaica Securities Dealers Association, the Pensions Industry Association of Jamaica, the Insurance Association of Jamaica, and the Bank of Jamaica. Also, it has been generally agreed that given the current challenges at that time, action will be required on both sides to maintain transparency and stability. In addition, where appropriate, the FSC, that's the Financial Services Commission, will exercise its discretion in the manner permitted by its statute and will also implement enhanced monitoring if required. Now, ladies and gentlemen, goodness gracious me. Now, let's kind of step back for a second. Again, we're going to step back. And we're going to bring up Mr. Owen Witter. Sir Owen Witter, I'm going to ask the question again. In 2006-7 thereabout, when, according to a document I have here, that you just showed me your pension statement, and you had to pick A, B, or C to take a lump sum payment, or you wait till you're 65, you take a payment, or you can do a partial of each. Now, at that point, did anyone inform you or any of the members that they would not receive a pension when they retire?
No, I went to the HR department and asked the question, how comes the zero appear? The the individual says to me, say, don't worry about that, man. Machine error, man. Machine error. Leave that alone.
Goodness gracious me. Now, we talked about deferred, meaning when you retire, when it comes to pensions, right? We talked about the types of pensions and the arrangements that are made between a company, that it also involves the government and government agencies to oversee that large pool of money, to see the holder of the pension fund has a fiduciary duty to the members to pay all of you at retirement. That does not change. It's irrevocable.
Yes, yes.
That does not change.
No, no.
So 2006, you got a statement to say, okay, this is your contribution. And then you're told 2007, look, you can choose A, B, or C, and then we'll give you a deferred pension when you retire. But there's a fat zero there, and you say, what's that? and they say, "Oh, it's a typographical error." Well, one thing I'm sure of, Mr. Witter, is that one thing I'm absolutely sure of is that no matter if LOJ changed name to Sagicor, I don't care if they did. One thing I'm sure of is two separate companies because they're two different names, right? Life of Jamaica signed the agreement with all the workers under the guidance of the National Workers Union. So therefore, there's a national representative to speak directly to the government. So this agreement was hashed out and signed by all the hourly workers, and it was irrevocable. So therefore, if it's irrevocable, and for some reason LOJ went out of business, but they had to pass on that pool of money, because that pool of money is like a hot potato. You can't hold on to it, and even if you're going bust, somebody has to account for it. So it had to be passed on to Sagicor. Now Sagicor has to agree based on the portfolio. Ladies and gentlemen, they have to agree to take it on. If they don't take it on, the government has to take it on. Because you have the National Workers Union, you have the agreement of a superannuation fund, a pension fund, and this is agreed upon because now you're talking some legal frameworks here, ladies and gentlemen. So when that money is, or that portfolio has to be passed on with whatever money is in that fund. LOJ is going out of business. So now Sagicor has to take on the responsibility of paying all these hourly workers when they come to retirement age. They have to agree to that and say, okay, we're going to take on the risk. We're going to take the funds. We're going to invest it. We're going to be responsible to pay all these members based on the plan rule.
Yes.
Based on that plan rule, as you saw me read in the superannuation fund, it can be a combination. It can be your time worked with a mathematic there, or it could be a combination of work and years. Time spent. It's in, I'll read it again for you. Ladies and gentlemen, at no point in time can Sagicor, who was never there or a part of the signatory, Sagicor, the company, was never there when these agreements were being signed, but they had to read them and say, okay, we're going to take on this risk, because any pension or insurance is a risk. You got to take a calculated risk based on the amount of contributions, the amount of time we're talking about, the number of people involved, and they take on that number. Almost 35 billion Jamaican dollars, which is almost 235 million US dollars. Do the calculation. So if they had that money from back then and they're investing it, guess what? That if they are doing a good job at it, it's no longer 35 billion. It's more than that. Because if they did a bad job and invested the money and lost it, they're on the hook for it, and the Jamaican government will have to pay it. Because this is a systemic risk. This is a risk that will go towards the integrity of Jamaica and its government and the banking sector. If you heard earlier when I read At one, did you hear Bank of Jamaica name called there? The insurance commissions and all the other pension commissions, FSC, all these guys are in bed together because they have to oversee each other. They have to communicate with each other because guess what? It's a lot of money. And you're talking about people's they have a fiduciary duty to the hourly workers. They have to pay this fund. So tell me, Mr. Witter, tell me a little bit about going to court.
Yes. So time was running, and when we leave the public defender office, this time Mr. Mukulu leave and Miss Henry is in office as the public defender. So we have to run around, knock up, upon our brother say, well, we need retainer fee, the employer, law firm, and it was very difficult. Very difficult. Anyhow, the law firm give me a little time, say, well, bring this come a week time. It was very difficult. Anyhow, we go to court and we go to court 2015, sometime we go 2016, two time, different date. We go back 2017, he may make calculate one call. Sometime when you reach up there, say no court. Nobody will inform me, so I have to go back to Manchester, waste a fare, waste a time. Well, however, they forward a prayer. Said this is this time because the COVID thing was on, Brother Ashmid, and easy to drive from Mandeville in a closed vehicle to town. Anyhow, so the court go through 2020 and sometime in July. So based on our summary, we come to understand that they allow the defender to speak first. Then on our side now, as a claimant, we speak after. And the judge said we must come back 2 weeks time to hear what he have to hand down to us. So
So let me ask you this. At that point in time, when the public defender was defending you, the objective at that time is to have the what was he fighting for? Is it to state that it is illegal not to pay you the money, or is it that you wanted the monies to be paid over? What was the objective with the course at that point?
well, what we go to court is, as I said earlier on, based on my age, I was just asking where is the benefits or the entitlement that when reach 65, would enjoy. So they are saying I take too long in layman term. Said it's statute of limitation, etc. And the other side, he says that I did not provide how much money owes to me. Owe to me. I cannot clear how much money owed to me.
So hold on, Mr. Withers. Two things I want to address here. When you have an irrevocable agreement or a superannuation fund or a pension scheme which is deferred, there's no statute of limitation. I don't see under which law or guidance would you have a statute of limitation. The only limitation there is when you die. Because when you get to retirement age, that's when that deferred pension has to pay over. As long as, according to the plan rule, you got to request it.
Yes.
So once you request it, there should be no question asked. Here's your money. Are you the person who you are? Let me see your ID. Let me see your paperwork, and then here's your money. You get that in a cycle of monthly, quarterly, whatever it is. All right. So there's no statute of limitation there. Secondly, when it comes to a pension fund and all this runaround that they were giving, the court is giving you, and the judge is asking you, hey, how much do they owe you? How can you be the one, the judge? This is why I'm saying something is wrong here. Something smells like a big rat. How can the judge ask you that question, or your attorney, when there, I don't know if you had how they worked out, what formula they use to work out the pension. That's something that's internal to the, that was LOJ and Sagicor, whatever they worked out there. They have to bring that forward. So it was for the attorney to pull that out of them, or to have the original agreement or documentation on his in front of him to pass on to the judge as an exhibit. So now it can be worked out. Or he should state that based on the plan rule, A, B, and C states this, and this is how it's to be worked out. So I can't understand what went wrong there. But in any case, the judge cannot say you're not entitled to it because there was an agreement. There was a decision to be made in 2006-7 that say choose A, B, or C because we're closing down. Illumina Partner says we're closing down. Choose A, B, or C. We give you a lump sum, we give you a partial fund, or you can wait till retirement. We give you everything. We give you a pension. But all of these options states that whenever you take a lump sum, a partial amount, or you wait till retirement, there's a deferred pension that you will get. It says plus a deferred pension.
Yes.
And the Alpart made their contribution. You made your contribution. All of the hours all the workers did, and then at that point in time, when they're closing down and say you can take back your contribution and whatever Alpart they contributed will be paid out as a deferred pension or upon your retirement. Hey, when you become eligible for your retirement, then you can request it. So what's the problem here? So I don't understand what the judge's arguments were there based on what you're telling me. So I need that disposition as quickly as possible because we're going to go into it. However, at no point in time the judge can say you're not eligible for it. He's asking, how much are you owed? So that means it's left wide open. It's left wide open. How much are you owed? That's what the judge is saying. How much? But the judge knows how much there's 35 billion there, but how much are you owed? That's an individual question. No, we're not talking about a class of people. This is a class action. So it's a class of people who contributed and who signed an agreement, contributed, and then they were let go because the plant was closing down. So each person individually is owed different amounts.
Yes.
However, the calculation that was used at that point in time had to be universal, or they have a tier system. I don't know. So that's what we need to know. So therefore, we're going to dive deep on Saturday. So Mr. Wita, I'm going to ask you, I know you got to go to work tomorrow. It's after 12. So I'm going to ask you, each member of the fund who work with Alpart and are vested. I'm going to send you the link that they have to like, share, subscribe, and click the notification bell to know when we're coming on, because this is going to go fast very soon. And we need everyone to be in the loop and know when we're coming on so they can get the information. So every member, pass on the word. If you don't get me, just leave that number and contact information, badge number, and phone number, name, years of service, and address in WhatsApp. I will add it to the master's list. But your obligation as the hourly members is to like, share, subscribe, and comment to Naram Promotions, the Real Deal Podcast Show, and also to also Mr. Rattigan's show. Because we're going to be on Mr. Rattigan's show, and then Mr. Rattigan is going to come on my show. And we're pulling in legal minds from far and wide. Ladies and gentlemen, do not miss this. This is going way up there. This is not stopping here. We're getting to the bottom of this, and we're going to get to it soon, very, very soon. Let me remind you of what took place a couple of days ago when we were on Mr. Rattigan's show. So let me go back to that history, and we're going to pull that up. Ladies and gentlemen, you got to understand that you got to understand that this is no joke. No joke, guys. So don't be fooling around here. So we have reason with Rattigan. Hold on. So hold on a second, guys. I'm going to pull that up in a second. And let's find it. Let's go. Here we go. Here we go. So this is one. I'm going to share this with you guys. This was a couple of days ago from Mr. Rattigan. So let's get Mr. Rattigan on stage. We're going to share our screen, and you'll see what I'm talking about when here we go. So let's get him up here. 1, 2, 3. Here we go. And boom, there, he's on screen. So let's start that at the right spot so we don't have to waste any time and see what Mr. Rattigan had to say. So we're at, here we go right about there. So here we go.
The circumstances arise. Question, Mr. Rattigan, will the new DPP be able to prosecute what Paula Lewin did not do?
And let me take the call and answer your question. Caller, good night. Welcome to Come Reasons Rattigan. Where are you calling from?
New York. This is George Ashmead.
George, before you say anything, hold the point. Let me answer Miss Philly. Miss Philly asked if the new DPP, whoever the person is, will they prosecute?
Right.
I don't know, but here's the thing. I know if it's the acting lady, the jury's out on that lady, because we're going to show Saturday her record as a prosecutor. We're going to show you some serious errors in judgment she made. And then I'm going to ask you, our audience, our family members, our serious thinkers, whether or not you think that this person is qualified to hold the office of DPP. George, go ahead. Welcome to Come Reasons Rattigan. I'm joined. I don't know if you've been watching the program. I'm here with the eminently qualified Mr. Jeffrey Tavares, Mr. Vumvavi. So go ahead, George.
Greetings, Mr. Tavares, and thank you,
Good
Mr.
evening,
Rattigan,
sir.
Yes, sir.
being a part of the show. I also have a podcast show as well. It's called Naram Promotions, the Real Deal Podcast Show here in New York. We had a conversation earlier about a topic that I've taken up as a personal issue, and also I'm helping hundreds of to get their pension or to get to their pension. This issue has been looming for years, and fell in my lap from people that I've known for many, many years. And I thought this issue was over a long time ago, since I have a vast knowledge of Maluna Partners of Jamaica, since my father had to blast the site for it to be built. So this is the conversation we had today, and we want to have that. I was hoping that we could have that conversation on your show or on my show, whichever one it works for you.
Okay. I'll tell you what, on Saturday we can talk. I don't know your availability on Saturday, but we can get a segment in on Saturday to talk about this. And people, here's what George is talking about. And I'm very familiar with that area. In fact, my family is still in that area. He's talking about the Alpart bauxite plant that, going back to the 70s, I believe, George told me that people helped to build that plant, and they were employees. They were not independent contractors. They were salaried employees, and they were saving towards a pension. They had a pension plan, and the plant closed, changed hands, and it went from one pension holding company to another. And the plant has, as I said, the plant has changed. The plant was sold. But it doesn't matter, because the pension was with Sagicor, based on what I've been told.
Correct.
And now, the money not there for the people them. And so everybody will come bank on George, though, because George is very familiar with the issue. As I said, his father used to work there. His father helped some of those people to get jobs there.
Correct.
And now those people, them don't have a pension. That can't be fair. That cannot be fair. So, George, what I want you to do is, I would have loved if you could have come on a Saturday, because we have a bigger audience on a Saturday. And I would like for you to lay it out on a Saturday, and then we can talk about a strategy going forward as to how we can get these people legal representation to get what is owed. Not even what is due, what is owed to them, because they earned the pension. And they can't withdraw from it right now because they've been told that there's no money. George, the floor is yours. Say a few more things, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Radigan. And as you said, I definitely will make the time on Saturday. Normally we have a late night show on Saturday, but I can always push it forward, because these people who have been working 10, 15, 20, and 30 years are now told that they have nothing to receive. And they have invested, they have contributed, the company has matched them. Those monies are sitting down in Life of Jamaica, and then it was passed on to the Sagicor. And many of these suffering because of health conditions that was caused by the plant. Also, most of them can't even afford medication, and they were looking to get their pensions at retirement age. And these are hundreds of people, and I have a long list here. So we're going to go over on Saturday, Mr. Radigan.
Okay.
And I really appreciate the gesture of helping to get these two people what they need. And I'm saying that there's a government in Jamaica, Prime Minister that has been sitting on his loins. Also, other members of the government, knowing that situation has been looming for years, and these people have been suffering for years, and these are hundreds of people who goes toward the integrity of the government and these institutions that I've seen over the years, that wherever there's a large pool of money, there's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And that in itself has, I'm happy that you're addressing a lot of this, but it's going to take a whole community of us.
George, let me ask you a question. How much money are we talking about in this pension plan?
The last number I've heard is
And I, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to look at Mr. Tavares' face when we told Mr. Radigan how much it is. Check this out.
just about $35 billion roundabout there. It's under 40 billion, but it's about 35 billion.
Check. Goodness gracious me, he couldn't believe. Here you
Billion
go.
with a B, people, not with an M.
Yeah. So
no. Also, I'm looking in the chat and we see where Pauline Gale. I don't know if this could help you, George, but she said my brother-in-law worked at Alpart. I don't know if you've seen the screen for a year. I think you mean for years, and he gets his pension every month. People must submit a life certificate every 3 months in order to get their pension. Do you know anything about that, George?
we've been told that from the almost 200 people that are calling in, and I'm making a master list. Only one person told me that they have been given a partial pension. So we're going to dive deep into it because we have the evidence. I'm not talking to you without, I've done my research.
Okay.
And I've pulled in quite a few people who are knowledgeable of the whole situation.
Okay.
It has been through court, and these guys were represented by someone in the public defender's office that didn't do a good job.
Okay.
And my question is, if these people signed an agreement, which was irrevocable, and were promised that retirement age, they'll be given a pension, and the plan closed them, and the pension plan or fund switch hands, that doesn't change the fact that we're agreed upon and the funds are there. If that has to be changed, it has to be a unanimous consent.
Okay.
So if these guys are being up to the point where the plant was being closed and they were being let go, LOJ had the whole pension scheme in their possession. Then it was passed on for some reason to Sagicor. He got it and then said, "There's no money here for you."
Do you know how much money LOJ sent over to Sagicor under for this pension plan?
We have the numbers. It's not in front of me. I don't want to lie.
But money was sent over from LOJ to Sagicor,
as far as I understand.
Okay. Okay.
So therefore, regardless of what Sagicor is saying, if they took on that portfolio, there are agreements that are signed. So these agreements were signed prior to Sagicor.
Okay.
So that they had to take on that risk.
Okay.
So therefore, moving forward, if they're saying, okay, we're going to take the money or take this portfolio, but we're not going to follow through on the agreement, then what law supports them?
Right. No, this is a great tragedy that a great wrong that should be made right. And
correct.
So I'm looking forward to this. I mean, when you and I had a conversation, at first it sounded like, no man, this can't happen in today's day and age. But yeah, it is happening. It has happened, and it will continue to happen unless we do something about it. So I'm looking forward to having you on Saturday, and certainly I'll certainly join you on your program anytime you want me to.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. So let's kind of, Mr. Witter, fast track to Saturday. I want the audience to hear what happened on Saturday, because we did not stop there. So for those who did not know, we were on Saturday. However, let's listen to it and then we can comment on it afterwards. Let's share the screen and get to the show that was on Saturday. So here we go. Where is it? let's get to it. Where is it? Okay. I guess we're here. Let's see. Let's share. Boom. Okay. All right. I think that's the wrong one. We got to get back to the right one. Let's get to the right one, Mr. Witter. It takes a while because I'm the only one in studio. I'm going to get to the right one here. So just a second. Bear with me as we move over to the next screen. Here we go. So now we have the right one. So let's get to it and put it on our screen so everyone can see it. Boom, here we go. So let's make sure it's queued up in the right place. This was Saturday, ladies and gentlemen, on the Rattigan show, From Reason with Rattigan. And we had decided at that point that it is necessary for us to give it as much time as possible with the right legal minds and also a good team around it, and have everyone on board at that point in time. So this is why I'm going to speak with Mr. Witter afterwards. And here we go. Listen to this.
George, we have George next.
Wait, wrong place.
All right. When we bring on,
You want to bring up George? Let's bring up George.
Yeah, George, big up yourself. Big up yourself. Welcome to the program, folks. If you watch the program, on Wednesday night, you heard George. You didn't see him, but you heard him. He's working on an initiative right now to help some of the people in St. Elizabeth. Well, some of them have moved out of the parish, but they have one thing in common. They worked at the Alpart installation, and something happened there that is just woefully wrong. And George is here trying to set the record straight. So George is just going to get a tease, because next week we're going to do a full segment with him. George, sir, the floor is yours.
Greetings, everyone, and good evening to your audience. And thank you for being on your show. I'm George Ashmead with The Real Deal. We call it RAMP Promotions, The Real Deal podcast show. Now, as Mr. Rattigan said, we're going to leave the details until we have the full segment that we can dive deep into the details. And also, our conversation earlier, you said we'll have other people join in to lend some support and also some advice. Therefore, Mr. Rattigan, we've also sent out to the members to get on board. We got your link, and everyone is going to be joining in and getting ready to listen in, because we have up to 800 men and women who work for Alumina Partners of Jamaica since the late 1960s until 2009, most of them. And they signed into a pension plan, and this pension plan, this agreement was irrevocable. And what we're learning is that now, since the pension plan changed from Life of Jamaica to Sagicor is saying to all the people I've spoken to that there's a big fat zero, no money is there for them. So we're going to be diving deep. Back to you, Mr.
And how much money? Sorry, I didn't hear. Did you mention?
We're talking, from what I've heard, under 40 billion. It's around $35 billion.
Wow. And that's 35 billion spanning what period of time?
It should be spanning from if I'm reading this right, it's from somewhere around 1989 to 2009.
Wow. So we're talking serious money. We're not talking 25 money.
Well, as I said, I've always mentioned this, that whenever there's a large pool of fund or monies in Jamaica, there's always a problem. So this one we're gonna dive deep in and solve this issue for these 800 people who are suffering. Most of them old, sick, can't afford medication. They've worked all their lives, and they signed this agreement, which was irrevocable, and they were promised a pension at the end of it, and now guess what? They're saying nothing is there for you.
30 billion Jamaican dollars, and there's nothing.
Nothing there. They're saying we don't have any monies for you.
Wow. No, this is sad. Well, Mr. Ashmead, look, I know it's a short trip here. It's a cameo actually, but this is just to whet your appetite for what's coming up next week, Saturday, because we're going to go very deep into this issue because people worked. This is not money that they're begging. They worked, they earned, they contributed to the pension plan. This is their money, and the money is gone. Now that they need the money, you know, twilight years, the money is gone. This is robbery. That's what this is. So we're going to be looking at it, and in a very careful manner, and then we're going to come up with not just talking about the issues, but what about the solutions? Where do we go from here? How can we reclaim the money legally? That's one of the things that we'll be doing. So I hope to have an attorney here next week so that we can actually explore the options. So George, I want to thank you for coming on. Big up yourself. I love you out now. That me say.
That's right. We don't ramp. So, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Witter. So we have a job to do before next Saturday. And you are now tasked with reaching out to every member to have them like, share, subscribe, and click the notification bell to Naram Promotions, the Real Deal podcast show, and also Mr. Rattigan's Come Reason with Rattigan show. Both of us are going to be on both Mr. Rattigan's show and this show when Mr. Rattigan comes on our show, because we're going to be talking about it with other people on the show as well to dive and ask the critical questions. So we have to prepare. So therefore, you're going to be working on Saturday, so I'm going to take up that mantle on Saturday. However, we're going to arrange a time to come on my show, since I'm more flexible, that works with your timing, because your job gets in the way on Saturday. All right. So is there anything you want to say before we go, Mr. Witter?
Yes, Brother George. Thank you very much again. You come in the right time to help us. As you hear the situation back at home, it's rough. People hungry, workers hungry. A farmer employee tell me about 2 months ago that he have his gas money, probably $2,000, and him travel through near the plant, and he said, like water stops coming from his eyes. One farm employee said to him, say, "Give me something, man, please." I saying shortening gas money. I saying turn back. He don't go that distance where he plan to go again. I say when going home is the next man and giving something again. So it is rough down there. But what I want to say, we not lose focus. We're looking at the Alpart 1990 plan rule. Whatever in the plan rule, Brother George, a hit we are defend and a hit we are demand. Enough is enough. What happened to us is injustice.
Absolutely so, Mr. Witter. And we're there with you. Naram Promotions, the Real Deal podcast show, is going all the way. George Ashmead, that's me. We'll be going all the way with you. You're not alone anymore.
Okay.
And I'm taking a full team to get to the bottom of it, because this is easy. The government needs to answer the question. If Sagicor is not willing to pay over, then the government needs to be involved, or the courts need to be involved. There's no other way. So we're going to get to the bottom of it, Mr. Witter, and all the members all the hourly workers, I know most of them, or if not all of them. It's a grave injustice. I know you're suffering, but I'm going to ask you to hold on. Help is on the way. Hold on. Mr. Witter called to me 3 weeks ago, so it's not been in my lap too long. But we're at phase 2. Tune in Saturday. Like, share, subscribe, comment. Click that notification bell. Reach out to others to join in. As Mr. Witter, myself, and Mr. Rattigan, and the rest of the team will take it all the way. This is not going to sit down anymore. This is not Mr. Witter being pushed aside anymore. That ain't going to happen. We can't be pushed aside because together we stand, divided we fall. We're now a unit, so we're strong. God bless you all. Keep praying and keep your faith. Like, share, subscribe, comment. Click the notification bell. You got to do that before Saturday. Because Saturday, we're going to dive deep in Mr. Rattigan's show. And I'm going to send the link to Mr. Witter, both links, for my show and Mr. Rattigan's show. And you got to subscribe to both shows so you know what is going on. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Mr. Witter. And we'll be in touch. I'll talk to you tomorrow. And I'm going to say have a good night. God bless you. And God be with you. Always. Thank you.
Peace be unto you.
All right, my brother. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, as you saw, this injustice that has been thrusted upon the hourly workers of Alumina Partners of Jamaica is unfair, and I'm wondering, where's the government in all this? Where are all the representatives? What happened to the National Workers Union that were paid to address this matter? They were paid millions of dollars because all these gentlemen contributed. Where is the National Workers Union? That's unfair. They just turned their backs. So we're going to dive deep. Like, share, subscribe, comment, and click the notification bell. And on Saturday, we'll continue on Mr. Rattigan's show and on my show as well later on in the night. So we're going to dive into U.S. immigration. So, ladies and gentlemen, U.S. immigration has taken a serious turn. I've been saying to many people since last year, you know, when they said, "Oh, Mr. Trump, President Donald Trump can't win," I said, let's think about that. I said, Mr. Donald Trump is going to win. They said, how could that be? Impossible. I said, okay. The election is 50-50. Biden has half the country, and Trump has half the country. Okay. I said, Biden is not in any good health. Then came the debate, and everybody saw. I said, okay, they switched to Kamala Harris. I said, Kamala Harris does not have a message. She's not even wanting to answer questions because she's not prepared. She's not ready. I said, the whole country saw it. I said, who you think is going to win? I said, okay, President Donald Trump. I said, if you do not have your affairs in order, because he's campaigning on exactly what he's going to do, check his first term. Now he's doing exactly what he campaigned on. So that's no surprise. I said, okay, you did not have your house in order. He won the election in November. And I said, you have until January 20th to get your immigration house in order. So that's a lot of people. And I said, look, the moment he raises his hand and touches that Bible and swears in as the 47th president of the United States, as soon as his hands go down, the game is changed, and it's going to change forever. A lot of people didn't believe me. So, oh, no, none of that can happen. I said, okay, check this out. Then the executive orders were signed. He said, you can buy a golden green card. Remember that? Then there came the announcement that you have to register, or you owe $1,000 a day. Then you were given the opportunity to take $1,000 when you get back to your country. They'll give you an airline ticket. Remember that? Okay. So at that point in time, the rioting started, and the disrespect, and these lower court federal district court judges began to infringe upon the Article 2 executive powers of the President of the United States. That's the executive branch. The Supreme Court weighed in and said none of that shenanigans. And they're still trying. While the rioting is going on in the street, and these woke governors and mayors in certain places around the country, like California, Governor Hochul in New York, and a few others across the country, decided that they will not agree or follow the federal government. I said, what kind of grave are you digging? So now that they're feeling the full breadth and length of the Article 2 elected president, he's elected. He's the president of the United States, and he's in the executive branch. The legislative branch can't do anything. They hash out the laws, sends it to the Article 2 president of the executive branch, and then the judicial branch can interpret whatever the other branch wrote. President signs it into law. They can't impede on it. So now that everyone is realizing what is going on, and he built what you call alligator Alcatraz. Well, Florida built it. But in the meantime, there was a thing called the Big Beautiful Bill. That Big Beautiful Bill has a lot in there, and it has to do what he campaigned upon. If he campaigned upon it and he's now implementing it, it's in the Big Beautiful Bill. And he said he wanted it on his desk by July 4th. And I said, when that bill is signed, the entire doors, or the entire United States, is going to be locked tight. It's now law and order, whether you like it or not. Law and order must prevail. Guess what? The Big Beautiful Bill was signed on July 4th. So July 4th, prior to July 4th, a few days before, he was the president of the United States, Sir Donald Trump, was in Alligator Alcatraz. Now, guess what's around Alligator Alcatraz? Some big alligators and some poisonous snakes and some very big snakes. And guess what? You can't escape there. 5,000 people can be held on that location. So what you think after you've been given a chance to spend for the golden green card, you were told that you had to register or you owe money. Then you were given a free ticket and $1,000 when you got to your destination. You can self-deport. And now they're building facilities in El Salvador, in the Everglades, you have in Africa, and also in Cuba and other places that, God help you when you get there. And now you have others being told that, guess what? You have to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars because you owe that money now because you did not register. Now, I want to, ladies and gentlemen, this is serious business. So I'm going to share something with you. Let me get to it. I've got it here from an attorney, Mac Bean, if I remember right. And I want to share that with you because it's extremely important that you understand the magnitude of what is going on here with U.S. immigration. This is no joke, guys. This is absolutely no joke. This is something that you need to know, and you need to know now. At no time are we ever, hold on, let me pull that up. See if I'm right. Hold on a second. That's not the one. Let's pull up the other one. I'll get the other one for you. Here we go. Okay, that's not the one either. I'm looking for it, guys, because this is extremely critical that you understand what's going on. Okay, so hold on a second. I think I got it here. So I want to bring it on stage for you so that you can hear from attorney Mac Bean herself what's been going on out there. And this is a short clip, I promise you. Let me share the screen. Stop that first and then add another one. Here we go. Let's share the screen there and get her on stage. Let's see. Here we go. All right. So I'm going to share this with you. And let's get it bigger. And here we go. So I'm going to put it on screen. Boom. It should be there. And we're going to get that going for you. Here we go. Let's get the voice up. Okay, here we go.
That I have here
Let
in
me
front
pull
of
that
me
back
says
and then
that government is sending out these $1.8 million collection notices to individuals here in the United States with a removal order. The one that I have here in front of me says that civil penalties are being imposed under the Immigration and Nationality Act due to your failure to timely depart the United States following a final removal order. It also goes on to say that if you fail to make your payment, the Department of Justice may initiate legal proceedings against you at any time. However, you could avoid payment if you voluntarily depart the United States immediately. Then it goes on to tell individuals that their debt is due on or before an absurd date. Then it says that individuals only have 10 days by which to make this $1.8 million payment. It says here that if you fail to pay the full amount within 60 days from the date of this notice, the Centralized Receivable Service will refer your debts to the U.S. Department of the Treasury's Cross-Servicing Program for collection, at which time additional administrative costs may exceed, guys get this, 32% will be added to your debt. Administrative costs may change in the future without notice. In addition, Treasury may also take the following actions. Number one, reduce any eligible federal and state payments due to you. Number two, refer your debts to a private collection agency. Number three, refer your debts to the U.S. Department of Justice to initiate litigation. Number four, report the indebtedness to the national credit bureaus. And number 5, reduce your debts to the IRS as potential income. Guys, this is crazy. The first notice that the government sent about this $1.8 million debt talked a little bit more about a mitigation process and a way for folks to ask for an extension. This notice that I have here in front of me to a client does not say anything about mitigation. It does not say anything about an extension. It's just purely collections. And it's intimidating. For those of you who get such a notice, work with a collections attorney to work something out to the extent possible with the government. Guys, I'm covering all things related to Trump immigration changes. Follow for more.
Ladies and gentlemen, so as I said before, I've warned a lot of people that since the big, beautiful bill was signed, the doors have closed. Really shut. They've shut this thing tight. And Attorney McBean just told you that now they're sending out these bills. You know, if you didn't register, sorry, you owe a bill, and the only way you can get out of it is to take to self-deport. And at that point in time, maybe, I'm not sure, if you didn't take the deal or didn't register or make an arrangement, you could be barred for a few years or forever from coming back to the United States. Speak to an attorney, speak to an immigration specialist. They will tell you. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is serious business. You can call my number. I'll point you in the right direction. I'll give you my number down below. I've been talking to many of you. It's right down there. Make notes of my number. The doors have shut, and they're shut tight. And those who are here and have not made arrangements, there's virtually not a lot of options for you. And if you're still sitting down, don't let them hold you, because Alligator Alcatraz is waiting. So is El Salvador and places in Cuba and Africa. And God knows where they're going to put you and how long you're going to be there. It's going to be uncomfortable. So if you know you have something wrong, call my number. I'll point you in the right direction, or speak to an immigration attorney or an immigration specialist. You need to. The big, beautiful bill is signed, and it's not going to get any easier for you. There's no way out. All the options are other options, I call them, that existed before the big, beautiful bill, they're gone. So now you got to stick with what's available. So I want to drop something here that has been going on with ICE rates. Let's talk about that for a second. Let's get onto that and see whether or not let's check this out. I gotta get it on my screen for you, and this is involving ICE rates. So let's go back to Attorney McBean. Let's see what she has to say about that, because the game has changed here. It has really changed, guys, and you gotta be able to understand the ramifications of this. So speak to an immigration attorney, speak to an immigration specialist. Your options are now extremely limited. So if you sat down and you did not make arrangements, now it's going to be much harder. So let's get her on stage. Here she is, and let's hear what she has to say. Let's get the
Have a very exciting show. We're going to cover the latest immigration
move.
weekend. It's good to
Okay.
at info@mcbeanlaw.com. We're going to go right into our news, because there's so much that I'd love to cover with you this afternoon.
This is a
Okay,
verified
so
refurbished
hold on a
iPhone 15.
second. Let's get that off the screen. You know these things go. Okay, here we go.
Okay, so the first issue is this: worker shortages, okay? Nursing homes, guys. Nursing homes are struggling to keep their staff, to keep people employed, because of the crackdown that they're
I'm also talking to the Jamaican people, especially in South Central Jamaica. There was a family member of mine. He was the Speaker of the House. And I remember when he came to Sear District, New Forest, all around, and he was telling me that he was saying to everyone, get yourself certified. Go back to school. You know, heart is there. Get yourself certified. Listen to what is happening now because legal immigration is still going on and there's a workers shortage and you need to know that you can now make applications. The doors have opened for you to come to the United States legally and work. There's a shortage. Check this out. Get on board. Get yourself certified. You're going to need to. So let's go.
facing. They're facing severe staffing shortage at certain nursing homes across the country, which is certainly being impacted by the revocation of legal statuses like TPS and humanitarian parole. Foreign-born workers make up over 25% of the caregiving workforce, and yet their legal immigration pathways are drying up as millions of people are losing their status due to the rollback of TPS and the rollback of various parole statuses that they had obtained. Employers are receiving less than 24 hours notice when workers lose their authorization, which virtually cripples operations overnight for some employers. And these positions are going unfilled because Americans are not applying despite wage increases in hiring incentives. And immigration, friends, as you guys know, is key to elder care. Key to elder care. And the US is aging rapidly. And unfortunately, fortunately, you guys know that immigration has long filled the gap in the healthcare industry, but the Trump era policies and backlogs are slamming that door shut, and the pipeline is drying up. Some leaders in the healthcare industry, particularly nursing home leaders, are saying the pipeline is drying up and workers and families are living in fear. And you guys might have also seen videos or read in the news that even construction workers in places like Los Angeles some of them are not showing up to work to continue the rebuilding project in Los Angeles. Why not? Because they're afraid, they're fearful about showing up and ICE raiding their workplace. Employers are not just losing aides, but dishwashers, servers, and maintenance staff, many of whom are foreign born, and immigration slowdowns are hitting caregiving harder than other industries. And then, friends, with this whole workplace raid issue, employers, if you're an employer watching today, certainly begin a process of training your team, training your workers on knowing how to respond in the event ICE shows up and tries to arrest an individual. It could be someone who you're serving, or it could very well be one of your colleagues. There are ways that you could protect yourself. These days at McBean Law, we've been meeting with employers and writing protocols and policies for them and helping them with training their team on how to respond, what they can and cannot do, legally speaking, if ICE shows up at your work site. So certainly reach out to us if you'd like more guidance on how to protect your business. Secondly, friends, you guys might have seen you might have seen the Truth Social post that President Trump put out there about ICE needing to do whatever is necessary, any means necessary to protect itself. And I'm going to pull up the Truth Social post here because this was from 2 days ago. And in it, he says, I'm on my way back from Texas, and I watched in disbelief as thugs were violently throwing rocks and bricks at ICE officers while they were moving down a roadway in their car and or official vehicle. Tremendous damage was done to these brand new vehicles. I know for a fact that these officers are having a hard time with allowing this to happen, and that it shows such total disrespect for law and order. Therefore, and this is what you've got to pay attention to. Therefore, I am directing Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem and Border Czar Tom Homan to instruct all ICE, Homeland Security, or any other law enforcement officer who is on the receiving end of thrown rocks, bricks, or other form of assault to stop their car and arrest these slime balls using whatever means is necessary to do so. I am given total authorization for ICE to protect itself, just like they protect the public. I never want to see a car carrying a law enforcement officer attacked again. Authorization immediately granted for arrest and incarceration. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Okay, so here we have the president.
Larry, check this out. With On Deck, we can get a small business loan fast.
Let's get that off the screen. Here we go. All right, we're back.
Needs to use whatever means is necessary to protect itself and to arrest folks. And, you know, what else can I say there, right? Whatever means is necessary. You guys see the military gear set up that these officers, or we don't even know who some of these individuals are behind their mask. You know, it's very intimidating. They're in a military gear and they're on the streets and they're racially profiling folks. In California specifically, a federal judge just recently issued an order saying that ICE needs to stop the racial profiling of brown people, of people who speak Spanish or have an accent, or who would spend time traditionally at a place that is traditionally frequented by immigrants, like car washes in those places. They've just got to stop that racial profiling. It's unconstitutional. And also, she issued an order saying that ICE should not stop immigration lawyers from getting into the detention centers to visit their clients. They need to be able to go in to the detention center and speak with their clients, communicate with them so that their rights are asserted. So that's a judge's order on Friday in California related to the crackdown that we're seeing there. So with respect to the raids in California, guys, it's, you know, you're seeing this all over social media. Federal agents used tear gas and crowd control tactics during 2 immigration raids at licensed cannabis farms in California. A farm worker sadly died after falling from a roof during one raid, prompting widespread criticism from California's governor and human rights groups. DHS, in response to that, said, we weren't even targeting that individual who died, who fell from the roof. He wasn't even the focus of their attention that day. Despite DHS guidance advising against worksite raids in non-criminal cases, ICE continues to target agricultural workers, guys, increasing fear in immigrant communities. The Trump's directive, of course, is, you know, it threatens the First Amendment right to peacefully protest, as demonstrators could now face arrest or force for opposing ICE actions. And you've heard, I just read him call them thugs and slime balls, and use very inflammatory language. Now, under Trump's spending bill, as we've been talking about, ICE's annual budget will grow from $8 billion to $28 billion, making it the highest funded law enforcement agency in our country. And this plan includes hiring 10,000 new ICE agents, dramatically increasing or expanding their reach and the frequency of enforcement. Although some people, I'm one of them, will make an argument that recruitment will be a bit of a challenge to be able to find these. Of course, there are folks out there with some law enforcement background who are ready, willing, and able.
So, as you can see, that the budget has been expanded exponentially, and this is not going to get any better anytime soon. So, ladies and gentlemen, take heed. If you have family members, friends who are in the categories we're speaking in terms of U.S. immigration, and they're in problems, the options just dwindle down to little to none. So you got to act fast, because the bills are coming out now for that $1,000 a day bill, and these are $1 point something million. I don't know, but if I have $1 point something million and I'm not documented here, or something is wrong, I know where that money can be worth a lot more and do a lot more for you. So it's not alligator Alcatraz. It's definitely not alligator Alcatraz. So you can't spend it there. The alligators will have it for you. But ladies and gentlemen, take heed. It's getting to the point where it's ridiculous to be here if you're not documented. You know what I mean? It's very ridiculous. You can't stick around. So let's go. So ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna close the show shortly. We're an hour and 46 minutes in, and here we go. We're gonna talk about Nurse K's health fair in New Forest District in Manchester. This is on July 26th, and this is not too far away. This is about 11 days away, because now it's Tuesday the 15th. So on the 26th of July at AgriPlus Farm Store in New Forest District in Manchester, K's mobile service will be having a health fair. It starts at 9 a.m. and you'll have free blood pressure checks, free blood sugar checks, free HIV tests, and also doctors will be there to do free back-to-school medicals, and there'll be a host of booths of different businesses offering information on a lot more stuff. Also, the New Forest High School will be there also to give you information. So there's a lot of information going on, guys. And the proceeds from the food and other things that she sells will go back to students for back to school. So it's a great cause. So you got to be there on July 26, 2025 at K's Mobile Health Fair. And it starts at 9 a.m. at the AgriPlus Farm Store in New Forest District in Manchester. As you can see, Miss K has always been doing this for a very long time. She's always connected to the community. She's always helping, and she's always doing stuff. As you can see, ladies and gentlemen, this is a lady that has been doing a lot for the community. Also, she's with a lot of the charity group there, as you can see, and they're doing a lot of stuff. So here's Kay with Miss Trisha. They are very active in the community, and we say hats off to them. God bless you all. But remember, on July 26, 2025, K's Mobile Service Health Fair will be at the AgriPlus Farm Store in New Forest District in Manchester. And we have free blood pressure checks, free blood sugar checks, free HIV tests. Doctors will be on site to give free back-to-school medicals for the school children. And also there's going to be a lot more information there. So check it out. Go and get your blood pressure check, get your HIV test, get your blood sugar checks. Come on, guys. This is a big deal. So hats off to Lady K. Also, let's talk about some other places and events that you can go. You can always go to my place at the Mystic Inn. It's always a great place to hang out, guys. And for those who are looking to be featured here on this show, you got to go to the Mystic Inn to figure out how you get into the NARAM Club. the VIP club and the VVIP club. So that's where you go and you present whatever you have to be announced here. Then you go to the Mystic Inn if you're in Jamaica. If not, call the numbers down below if you're outside of the country or anywhere else in the world. I'll go on to one of those social media sites, send me a message, and I'll get back to you. So there's many ways to get in contact with me. So ladies and gentlemen, also, let's talk about a night at the Roxbury's. This is Bolo from Swamp View Promotion. He'll have his birthday celebration, and it's called A Night at the Roxbury. It's in Gullyside Bar, at Gullyside Bar in New Forest District on Lane Road. That's when you get to New Forest by Eon's Lawn, you got to go down the lane. That's a beautiful road, Barber Green Road, smooth road to get down to the we call it Gullyside Bar. It's a beautiful venue. Lots of parking space, great road to drive on to get there. So it's amazing. So you can check it out. It's going to be a big deal on July 25th. That's in 10 days. So get yourself ready for this because the musical juggling is going to be by DJ 5, also the Uptown Movement, and also the big bad DJ Kino. All right, so that's going to be a big, big deal. This is going to be huge. So big up to Bowl on the Swamp View crew. We say God bless you all and be safe. You know what I mean? You won't be short of anything. I'm telling you, this is 3 the hard way musically. The vibe is going to be great. So check that out. So let's move on to some cricket. Lovely, lovely cricket. You know, I'm telling you.
Congratulations. Well done.
So White Diamond Drink Out in association with Central Link Up say join us for an exciting and fun day of a cricket match. It's Melbourne Forces, Westmoreland versus Melbourne faces Westmoreland Strikers, and Fairfield takes on Comfort at the Bowls Oval in Downs District that's in Manchester. If you don't know, go back and look at the other interviews I've had with Mr. Bowles. This is a beautiful cricket ground, a great day out for the family. It's Sunday, August 3rd, guys. 2025. It's going to be a beautiful day to take out the family and your friends to a lovely day of cricket and great country style cooking at Bowls Oval. Remember, Bowls has Bowls Fish Spot, the big restaurant down there. So the food is going to be right. I'm telling you. So on August 3rd, 2025, this is at Bowls Oval. You're going to have a big day of cricket. The Melbourne Forces, Melbourne faces Westmoreland Strikers, and Fairfield takes on Comfort. So that's at the Bowls Oval in Downs District in Manchester. Check it out, guys. It's going to be huge. So, and let's move on to another big deal. This is Peter Nita, in association with Links Construction and Maintenance Company Limited. This is called the Chicken Back and Seafood Festival. This is on August 1st at Tara's Seafood Restaurant and Lounge in Alligator Pond District in Manchester. This is a big deal. They said come early because breakfast is going to be ready at 8 a.m. They said bring your swimming gear because the river is only 5 minutes away and also the sea. So the sea is much closer than 5 minutes away. I think it's a minute away. You can walk to it. Goodness gracious me, it's very close. You can see it. So it's in Alligator Pond District, the beautiful Alligator Pond District, guys. You can't go wrong with this every year. Chicken Back and Seafood Festival. Mr. Nita, we won't be advertising this until Mr. Nita comes back on. And he has promised to come on and talk about it so he can authenticate what I'm saying. So is Mr. Bolo. And also Lady K will be on as well to tell you much more about their events. And also Mr. Bowles. You know, he'll be talking about August 3rd too. You get what I'm saying? So, guys, stay tuned. August 1st is going to be a big deal. The Chicken Back and Seafood Festival. Can't go wrong at Tara's Seafood and Restaurant and Lounge in Alligator Pond District in Manchester. Look, stay tuned for Mr. Peter Nita, also Mr. Bowles, about the cricket match on August 3rd, and also Lady K about the health fair, and so on. And we're going to have Mr. Bolo come on as well about his night at the Roxbury. So stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being here. I'm telling you. So, as we get ready to close the show, I always say, always pray when you're going out. Pray when you're coming in. Always remember, God is in control. Thank you for being here on NARAM Promotions, the Real Deal podcast show, guys. I really appreciate it. Please like, share, comment, and always click that notification bell. Like, share, subscribe, comment, and click the notification bell so you know when we're coming on this family-friendly show live. Stay tuned. There's a lot more to come. And we say God bless you all and God go with you always. Thank you for being on the show, and we'll see you at the next show. Thank you very much. Okay. NARAM Promotions is at you.